Hey everyone, welcome to Payments FN, and thank you for joining us. We're super excited to be here. My name is Vinit Patil. I am the CEO of Ribbon.
Hi there, I'm Sanjay Garje, co-founder, CTO of Ribbon, and also super excited to be here.
Cool. So Ribbon is a multi-vendor platform for B2B selling. It's for trade shows, for sales agencies, for distributors. They can easily set up a multi-vendor marketplace and with ease and elegance. We're based here in the Bay Area. And today we want to talk about a topic that's very dear to us. It's about B2B payments and getting them out of the dark, dangerous age. So some of you may wonder, what is this dark age that we speak of, right? Like payments have advanced quite a bit. They're more secure. Today you have your credit cards, they have these microchips. There's more PCI compliance. And we're also talking about moving to the blockchain where all the ledgers are distributed. There's no one central authority looking at your payment processing information. But even with all these advancements, the thing that we don't know or you may not be aware of is that there is this other dark underbelly where the processing of payments and B2B payments happens in a kind of like this borderline illegal way. I wouldn't call it borderline illegal. I just say that it may seem strange to some of you who have been doing this in a very secure way for the past many years. Let me give you an example. These are some of the systems that are existing today. And when a buyer sends the credit card information to the supplier, it's fully exposed. Here you can see the 16 digits. You can pretty much go there. You can order a pizza or a Rolex watch. And this gets even worse. You start to find people are emailing PDFs with the credit card information written into the PDF. And sometimes they don't realize that it's not completely secure because it's going over an HTTPS secure line, right? So these are some of the things that are happening. And even with our own platform, we realized that when we were doing our own user testing, some of the old habits die hard, and some of the sales reps were writing credit card numbers fully exposed in any field they could find. These are just some of the things that have been coming up over the past many years that these legacy systems have been in place. And with card not present on the rise, because online sales are on the rise, we find that credit card fraud is also on the rise. This is going up and up and up. And these are the dark ages that we speak of. And so how do we get people out of these dark ages? The first thing that we do is it's really, it doesn't even have anything to do with technology. And we've codified it into 5 steps. The first step is to just think about where the vendors are today, what the suppliers are thinking of today, what the buyers are thinking of today, and educate everyone on the no-brainer benefits of moving out of the dark ages, of picking payment processing that is in tune with the world today. And then one of the things that a lot of the suppliers worry about is, oh my God, I'm going to have to change everything that I've done to accommodate this new way of work, to get out of these dark ages. They think, oh my God, I'm going to have to change my workflows. And the thing is, no change is required. Your workflow is going to remain exactly the same. You're going to get the credit card. The only difference is it's going to be tokenized. The second thing is what vendors worry about is, oh my God, the PCI compliance, it's not easy, right? You got to answer all these 150 questions. You got to do all kinds of things like putting surveillance cameras, paper shredders, updating your security protocols. Well, the simple answer is you can just outsource your PCI compliance and you'll just be 100% PCI compliance. The third thing that a lot of the suppliers worry about is, look, I used to get my credit card, I used to put it in my system, it was so easy. Now, if it's tokenized, am I going to lose it? Nope. You're going to get unrestricted access to fully vaulted cards at all times. So if you want to go back and if you want to charge your card again, if you want to do a refund, if there's a back order, you're going to have access to that credit card at all times. With these three things, once the suppliers start to understand, then I think they'll be in the mental frame of mind to start to say, you know what, there's a much better world outside these dark ages. But wait, is this going to be really hard for me to do? Nope. What we got to do as a second step is make that change stupid simple, right? So the vendor should not have to ever worry about like, oh my God, this integration with all these gateways is going to need a lot of development time, is going to take time to implement. It's going to cost me a lot of money. Well, here's the thing. If this integration is made simple enough as 2 clicks, then that transition will be so much smoother and you'll be able to exit a lot faster, right? So how do you make that actually happen? The way we do that is by introducing our secret weapon. And that's what my co-founder Sanjay is going to talk about. So let me hand it over to him. If I can figure out how to move this slide forward. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Vinit, for that. So enabling your secret weapon, right? And as you can imagine, if you want to design a weapon, you really need to make sure that you understand the target, right? And for us to figure out what our target is, this is what we had to do, right? So we dive deep on our customer problems and the challenges that we had. The number one challenge that we had based on our experience with our global community of sellers, because Ribbon is a global commerce platform and our customers come from all over the world. And even though we are based in Silicon Valley, California, US, because of all these sellers that are based out of, they could be either in Mexico, Japan, or Australia, or New Zealand, or England, or anywhere, it is important that we treat them as with the same consistency of platform, and we give them the cross-border payment settlement. The solution that we were using before Spreedly did not do that. It only allowed US-based settlement. What does that mean? That means that that solution allowed the buyers to place orders with the non-US based sellers. But as soon as the sellers were trying to process that payment, the payment provider will allow the credit card charge to go through, but it will not actually settle. It did not settle the payment. What that meant was we had extremely large number of unhappy buyers on our hand. We had large number of unhappy vendors at our hand. They all contacted our customer success, so their workload went up. Means we also had a frustrated team members that we had to deal with. And when we design a solution for especially a global platform like ours, we had to ensure that not only we treat United States, but we treat all the global countries, and the solution works for everybody. And just because we sell tomorrow to a vendor that's out in a new country, new gateway, we don't have to keep going back to drawing board and keep redesigning and re-implementing and keep adding more work to our plate. So it had to be future-proof design and future-proof implementation. So that's the challenge number one. The challenge number two we had was the global seller community that we serve. They are super successful already. They're super curated. That's why the sales agencies and trade shows have chosen to do business with them. What that also means is they have set ways. They have decades of experience under their belt, and they have all these existing ERP systems and existing gateways that they have negotiated rate with. And just because we want them to onboard on Ribbon, they're not going to give up their existing negotiated rate and set up a new payment gateway in US just because your platform has certain technology limitation. So we didn't want to have any limitation for our vendors. We wanted to give them the freedom and the choice that they could set up whatever gateway they want in their country. And the second part of their existing workflow is also when they get an order, the vendor may have to ship that order the same day, or they may have to ship that 3, 6, 9 months out based on the type of the order. And what that meant is the vendor should always have the secured access to the credit card using the tokenized card. and they can pre-authorize the card at the time of shipping. So once they have the right shipping cost and freight from their shipping companies, they could go back and charge the exact amount back to that card. So the ability to pre-authorize and capture is extremely important for our vendors. And in order to fit into their ecosystem, we had to give them the choice whether they can do that pre-authorized capture on Ribbon platform, or they could do it in their own gateway, but we've already given them the vaulted access and the tokenized cards into their system. So that was another key challenge that we had to consider. And because we were already a production platform, we didn't have the choice to land our plane on the ground and design it for 3 months, the new payment system, and then implement for 6 months and test it for another 2 months and cause production disruption. So whatever solution we had to choose, it was important that it is developer friendly, it is modular, and we can add on and we can change the engine of our plane mid-flight, right? So considering those challenges, now revealing kind of our secret weapon, this is the high-level solution architecture diagram of our platform, right? So it's a serverless cloud platform. We have the customers that we onboard, each of them get their own tenant, their own subdomain, their URL. We have a rich, responsive front end that our customers use to interact with and place orders. But at the same time, we also have headless APIs that our partners use to build apps on Ribbon platform. A great example of this would be Synkware, who built an app for syncing orders out of Ribbon into the vendor's existing workflow ERP systems. Right. So on the payment side, we really use Speedly, and that's really our secret weapon there to ensure that all our PCI compliance, heavy, undifferentiated heavy lifting is passed on to Speedly, and we just focus on our core competency. So if we were to further dive deep into our tech secret ingredients, we are a serverless platform, and what that means is we don't allow our developers to waste their time on managing technology infrastructure, like patching servers, figuring out server provisioning and infrastructure provisioning. Instead, we have them focus on writing business functionality and features that our customers really care about, right? The fact that we are completely born in AWS cloud, Amazon innovates at an even further rapid pace. You couple that with our serverless focus, our focus on automation, continuous integration, continuous delivery, we're shipping production functionality to production every day. We're putting features and functionality in our customer's hand every day. So that increased speed and agility is extremely important as part of our secret weapon. And we are API first microservices based architecture. So we are able to add and remove the Lego blocks as and when we need it. So that allows us to fail fast, iterate faster, and which essentially allowed us to work with somebody like Speedly. So here's an example of their express payment form that we could add into our payment capture workflow and have the credit card data go directly from the user's browser into Speedly in a secure fashion, and Ribbon is never exposed to the PCI heavy duty responsibility there. Right. The other example of what we use from Speedly is their rich set of APIs. These are some of the common ones that we use heavily. So we use the gateway, add gateway, we use capture and authorize. But having these APIs and this developer-friendly freedom allowed us to plug and play, crawl, walk, run, and expose this functionality out in production sooner, which basically meant we were able to deliver this entire experience in less than 8 weeks in our vendors' hands. The vendors that couldn't participate in the credit card transaction before because of the cross-border limitation that we talked about, all of them were able to 100% adopt this new payment solution using Speedly as the underlying engine. And as a result of which, our credit card transactions went up 861% week over week. That is success for our vendors because there's more revenue coming their way. The other problem that Vinit pointed out is this whole fraud that's increasing, ever increasing credit card industry. Because of the third-party vaulting and the Speedly's secured credit card transmission, we were able to reduce that for our customers by 56%, right? So if you kind of summarize our secret weapon, where we have dived deep on customer problems, We have innovated for them using the Amazon cloud and Speedly's rich set of payment functionality. And we have delivered them this innovative features and functions that allowed them to, in turn, earn more business, right? So to us at Ribbon, that's the only way to innovate, is to deliver results and keep earning customers' trust. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Vinit.
Yeah, so thanks, Sanjay. That's a really cool explanation of how we set up our secret weapon and got everyone in a place where it's now easier to exit the dark age. But the fact is, we as even as a platform, as Ribbon, we cannot do this alone. We have to be able to join forces with everyone in the industry because this is a pretty big problem spread across a lot of categories, right? There are hundreds and thousands of gateways. There are hundreds of gateways that the vendors are attached to. So one of the things we can do as an industry is to work with all the other platforms as well and figure out what are some of the common gateways that that the platforms can support, and also that the vendors find easier to adopt, right? So once we have this list out there, the vendors can take a look, and they can, when they're selecting gateways to connect to the ERP systems, this is where they can make a change. So it's an industry-wide call to make sure that we can start to exit the dark ages. The other thing is the final part is we have to be able to spread the word because this is a huge, huge industry. Just the home and gift, there are $6 to $8 billion worth of transactions flying back and forth, and we're not even talking about accessories or stationery or beyond that, where it's medical equipment and uh, machinery. All that translates to $1.3 trillion in global transactions, and some of these guys are still using fax machines, and they're going to be digitized soon. But once they're digitized, they should be in the new world, right? So to summarize, there are 5 things that we've identified to get out of these dark ages for the B2B. The first thing is to educate the customers, then effect, make that change so simple. You enable your secret weapon, you enter a joint force with everyone in the industry, and then you expand on that message, right? And today, if I were a consultant, I would just call this the 5 E's. But really, the goal here is to get people out of this business of writing credit cards, of transmitting credit cards the wrong way. There's actually a sales rep's diary where all the credit cards are written and they're going to be sent over to the vendor. We collectively can build systems that can get all our vendors, our suppliers, our sales agencies out of the dark ages, right? So with that, we're going to conclude, and I'm sure there are a lot of questions. So we're ready, and please join us on any Q&A questions that you may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We are here for questions.